is the person making personnel decisions? Is that a positional coach? Is that the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator, or is that Tomlin himself?
Are you talking regular season or preseason?
Let's call it preseason.
Okay, in this case, then it's a lot of the positional coach because you're trying to draft your roster still.
Welcome to Six Rings and Counting. I'm your host, Corey Idle, and joining me as always for a very busy preseason week 2 discussion, Mr. Lou Willard. Lou, we got to skip the formalities today and get right to business. How are you doing?
We got to jump in, man. This is desperate times call for desperate measures.
Boy, if you listen to the media pundits around the world, where the Steelers are done. We got the number 1 pick going into next year. We have to draft a new quarterback. Totally retool this team. I don't think it's quite Armageddon, but we got some issues. And here's my first. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I have a question for you because I think this is going to illuminate, I think, a lot of people. When going into games, before the game starts, who is the person making personnel decisions? Is that a positional coach? Is that the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator, or is that Tomlin himself?
Are you talking regular season or preseason?
Let's call it preseason.
Okay, in this case, then it's a lot of the positional coach because you're trying to draft your roster still. So if you follow Pittsburgh's preseason, as long as us diehard Steelers fans who are not panicking you realize in the 4-game season, because we're only 2 years into this 3-game preseason, 2 or 3 years into it, whatever. Pittsburgh is typically 1-3 or 0-4 because they're trying to fill out a roster. So if Mike says, only time Mike Tomlin's going to overrule them right now, in my opinion, I could be totally wrong, is if he says, no, we need to go with the starters. I will figure those guys out in practice or some joint practices. Okay. Other than that, position coaches will come to the head coach in the preseason and go, hey, I know you want to play the ones. How long are you playing them? Because I really want to get numbers 43 and 94 in there for so many reps because I think they got a shot to make the squad and I need to draft my last couple players on the defensive side of the ball. And the head coach will go, okay, do what you got to do, and we'll get some tape on them. So in the preseason, the regular season, everything falls on the head coach, everything. Regardless if he's allowing them to make the final decision, you'll never know it because the head coach is going to accept responsibility for it because ultimately he's responsible.
Well, and I guess the reason I had that question is I'm looking for someone to blame for putting Broderick Jones at right tackle.
That's who you blame.
Okay, thank you. Offensive lines coach, whomever you are, figure yourself out. Grow up. Because, dude, explain to me, if you can, why we're fooling around with this offensive line, why we're moving Broderick here or there. They're talking about putting him at guard. I mean, what are we doing?
The last thing the Steelers need is a guard. They have to. They have the potential to be all pros. Okay, Pro Bowl players at guard. Suamalu could be an all-pro. Mr. Daniels, who you know I'm a fan favorite of for different reasons, I think he can be an all-pro. Or, he could be a pro bowler. Maybe not necessarily an all-pro. But on the other side, Suamalu could be an all-pro. It's the tackle spots. So even with the injuries that you've had, why switch Broderick if you know you're going to play him at left tackle? Leave him over there and let's see what the third-string right tackle can do. Put his ass out there because Broderick had a terrible game. People were going, he's a bust. Well, wait a minute. How was he a bust when y'all applauded him all of last year for playing the same right tackle? The man had a bad game. And the Greg, whatever his name is, number 50 for Buffalo, owned him. Dude played like he was in a contract year, which he may or may not be. I don't know. We don't cover Buffalo football.
Gross.
But I can tell you what will happen. Being a former player, not at that level, wasn't good enough, not at that level. These are the best of the best. If they see each other again, I guarantee you Broderick Jones wins that matchup. Guarantee you. Because it is a pride factor that come out when you got your ass beat like he got his beat against a man. And when you see him again, it'd be a different outcome. And everybody's like, well, he might not even be playing. Well, why not? He had a bad game. Do you go bench the quarterback after a 3 interception game? Who you play next game?
Right.
The dude had a bad game, and it was bad. He didn't deny it, nor could he. Eye in the sky don't lie. But Pittsburgh has to go ahead and put their line in place where it's going to be and go from there because they have a great nucleus, especially once Troy comes back. You got your left tackle, your right tackle, your guards are there. The centers who we all thought it would be anyway is Zach Frazier.
Right.
He didn't embarrass himself. The only place we got killed at was from the tackle spot, which is the 2 most important spots. Well, quite honestly, the middle is the most important because if they come up the middle, nobody stands a chance. But no one just bum rushes Pittsburgh up the middle. So far as we're concerned, our biggest concerns are the outside tackle spots. So put Broderick over there where you go. Put somebody at right tackle till Troy can get back. And you got to figure out a way to beat Atlanta and beat Denver and get home to when Troy can come back. Hopefully he can come back in week 1 because you do have that bye week that I keep forgetting about before the season starts.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it moving forward in the next couple weeks in a lot more depth. But by the way, the game against the Falcons, that's not going to be as fun as you thought it was because they just signed Justin Simmons and traded for Matthew Judon. So their pass rush got better and their secondary got a lot better. They are not going to be a walkover.
Well, that's true. That's true. But keep in mind this. They're still going to be learning the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's going to be a little slower. They're going to be out there thinking a little bit. So I get what they did. They did what they had to do. And all this does is go back and reinforce me liking the Michael Penix pick. Why wouldn't they get a defensive guy? Oh, they just did. Well, they could have used back end help. Oh, they just got him too. And you still have your quarterback of the future who they've seen enough in that they're not even playing him they didn't play him in the second preseason game, and they're not playing him in the third preseason game because they said they've seen enough. And here's the kicker. People blasted them, and this is not a Atlanta Falcons show, so I'll make this quick. The reason they're not is in case Kirk Cousins gets hurt early, they can't get their backup quarterback hurt in the preseason. Why can't people understand that? These damn games mean nothing to a guy that's already made the team. They mean something to me who was undrafted, hypothetically, if I would have been undrafted, just got a helmet and shoulder pads and trying to make the team. I need to play 60 snaps in that game if the coach going to give them to me because I'm trying to earn a roster spot. Michael Penix got a roster spot. You don't need to run him out there. You put him out there in practice and joint practices where he can wear that red jersey and not get hit. You stick him out there in the preseason, he's fair game. So why do that when you got a quarterback that's coming off an Achilles? Now, if Cousins was not coming off an Achilles tear, Michael Penix would have played the second game and he'd be playing the third game.
So we've spent 3 minutes. We've spent 3 minutes talking about the Falcons, just so you could say you were right about drafting Michael Penix. So we're going to move on. Congratulations to Lou. That's why you're on this show, man. You are the expert. That's why you're here, bro. But look, sometimes you got to pop out, and if you don't give yourself flowers, nobody's going to. So
look, you got to let them know it now and then.
That being said, Michael Penix was not playing quarterback for the Falcons and was also not playing quarterback for the Steelers. And we might kind of wish he was. Russell Wilson went 8 for 10 for 47 yards and pretty much had the defense on top of him most of the game. Justin Fields came in 11 of 17 for 92 yards and added on top of that 8 rushes for 42 yards. Mike was quoted after this game as I don't know the exact quote, so I don't know why I said quoted, but he basically said the quarterback isn't quite as clear as it was.
He said it's an incomplete study. So, and here's the kicker. To go back to your initial statement, I don't care who you put back there. Who's the most athletic quarterback you ever seen? Most people will say Michael Vick.
Probably
Michael Vick's ass wasn't doing nothing behind that line on Saturday night. Russell Wilson stood no chance. None. And Justin Fields stood a little better chance because of his legs. So now my take on this whole situation is if the line is going to look like this at the beginning of the year, you have to start Russell Wilson. And I only say this because when stuff starts to go bad and fall apart, I got to lean on experience and the guy that may not panic and just take off and run. Give me the guy with the experience. At the end of the day, I'm sitting here telling you, and I'm going on record now, Fields is the quarterback of this team for the next 10 years. It just may not be the beginning of this one, but he's here to stay. If he's not, I'll be shocked because he's shown what he can do. Now we just got to settle him down in the pocket. And he's pressing because this is his second team. Part of him has to feel like this is his last chance. So, of course, he's going to press on some of those throws. Pittsburgh's job is to let him know, no, you got time. Just sit, we'll teach you. And you go in the next year or the following year, which you're still only at that time 27 and quarterbacks are playing till they're damn near 40 now. What's the rush? Remember we had this conversation about Green Bay. I know, remember we had our guest on Armando? We had our guest Junior D on from our old show, Gas Up the Pacer. And he and I talked about it a lot there. Green Bay got it right. They had Favre. They drafted Rodgers, made him sit 3 years. They drafted Love, made him sit 3 years. That's why I believe so much in what Atlanta's doing right now. They drafted Penix. He's going to sit 2 years. Pittsburgh has the opportunity. Pittsburgh has the opportunity to let Fields sit for a year. 2 if they want to. 2 years if they want to. It's the same. Green Bay's not wrong. Somebody tell me what Green Bay's wrong. So these other teams, Atlanta's clearly following what they did, and I'm hoping Pittsburgh does the same thing. Because Green Bay has not been wrong.
You're 100% correct. And Green Bay's done it twice. They did it once with Aaron Rodgers. They did it a second time with Jordan Love. And both times it seems to have worked out pretty well. Or is working pretty well.
And people's argument would be how late they drafted him because they drafted Rodgers, I believe, at 24. I think Love went at 20 or vice versa, 24 and 20, in the 20s. And Atlanta just did it at 8. But Pittsburgh picked them up free. Conditional 6th-round pick. Come on, man. They got him free. So if they can let the young man sit a year and he can buy into that, we got a shot to have a quarterback for the next 10 years. Because it's hard when you get a quarterback to go from 2004 to 22 or whatever Ben did with 18 years. Now you got to get another dude. Look at the Patriots. At least Pittsburgh didn't fall off like the Patriots did. You know what I mean? I mean, you fall off a cliff if you don't have that backup plan. So that's what they're doing. But right now, none of that matters if they can't shore up that damn offensive tackle spot.
No, they have to do something with that. And I hate to keep harping on it because it is a preseason game. I can't imagine Broderick staying at right tackle. So where do we go? Let's say best case scenario, we move Broderick back over to left where he belongs and the left side's taken care of because that's his natural position. He can do it. Yeah.
Then you put whoever at right tackle and hope they work out until your right tackle gets over his injury or you go trade for a guy, but you can't compromise 2 positions for one.
That's it.
If you move and you compromise in 2 spots for one, you can't do that. You already got one bad one. Don't compromise the 2 for 1. So, and they're smart enough to figure that out. I mean, Pittsburgh never panics in the preseason, but I am telling you, at being a lifelong fan and watching Canada and watching this shit show since Ben been gone on offense, I'm like, come on, y'all. Can we at least put the ball in the end zone? Can we cancel this Brandon Ayuk talk? If they don't want to commit to the trade that they agreed to, okay, that's fine. This is a business. It's not personal. It's a business. Just back out of it and go get Jahan Dotson like they're talking about and see if he can revive his career. Or roll with the guys you got. But whatever. Get yourself out of the headlines with Brandon Ayuk. Either he's coming or he's not.
Well, look, just because he wants to come here, and this is a player show, we are always going to side with the players. But just because the guy wants to come here doesn't mean he's going to come here. That's just the way it is. Things don't work out for everybody. I should have been the quarterback of the Broncos, but instead, guess what? I was a Calvin Klein model. What do you want me to do?
Oh,
not model my underwear? No, I gotta make my money.
I feel with that job, you made more money. But I will tell you what, the reason he's not here is not because of Brandon Ayuk. So Steelers fans, don't get mad at him. The 49ers won't sign the trade deal. If they sign it, he's coming. He wants to come.
Yeah.
But he's got the best of two worlds right now. He wants to come, but he wants to stay there. But he said if he leave, he want to go to Pittsburgh. So they have an agreement in principle. If he wants to come, all the 49ers got to do is sign it, and he's on his way. But if they don't want to, I'm Pittsburgh going, man, the hell with y'all. Deal's off the table. Y'all deal with him. Because you can only franchise tag him once. Then you can try twice. Then he's not coming back. T. Higgins. T. Higgins is not coming back to the Bengals next year unless they tag him again, and they can't pay him damn near $40 million a year.
Well, we'll keep that in the AFC North and talk a little bit because there is now talk Jamar Chase, his hold in is about to become a full-on holdout into the season. So now they got multiple issues.
The problem with Jamar Chase is, I could be wrong, but I think he has 2 years left on his contract, not one.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's not holding out the season. He has no leverage.
It'd be nice if he did, though. That would help us out quite a bit.
I mean, if he held out for 2 weeks a year, that'd be great.
If he held out for, 2-3 weeks, and then
I'm talking about the 2 times we play him. I don't give a damn. He play against everybody else.
But then let's say like every other team that we play, their defensive line just decides not to play that day. We're going to win some football games. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Let's make them at least count to 3 Mississippi before they rush. And I think we got a shot at putting some TDs on the board. Because this field goal stuff is not going to work.
Especially if they have to spell Mississippi.
Dude, I can't spell Mississippi. S-H-I-T. That's how I spell it.
Miss Hississippi. Miss Hississippi. No, but seriously, he's not holding down the regular season because he doesn't have the leverage. That's just too much money to lose. I can't speak on the man's money because I don't know him. But man, if you got that kind of jack, then hold out. But you can't hold out 2 years in a row. Hell, you can't hold out one. That everybody goes back to the obvious, Le'Veon Bell. At the end of the day, the team wins as long as you have a contract.
That's it. That is it.
So he'll be there.
All right.
But I don't blame him for holding out of camp. He doesn't need to be in camp anyway.
I've been avoiding the subject, Lou. And I can't think of anything else relevant to discuss. We got to bring it up. Jaylen Warren. Hurt, pulled his hamstring. Reports are multiple weeks into the regular season, not like this week coming up and then the following bye week, and then he'll be ready to go. They're saying this is multiple weeks. One, talk to us a little bit about the impact that's going to have on the team overall. 2, Cordarrelle Patterson and him filling in that role, because it's not going to go to Najee. It's going to be Cordarrelle picking up that slack. And 3, I want to know a little bit more about hamstrings, but let's start over at the beginning here. Talk to me about the impact of Jaylen Warren's injury.
Well, you lose explosiveness. Like Cordell Patterson used to be that explosive player, and he still is explosive, but quite frankly, the kid's just younger, and the young man is younger than the other young man.
Mhm.
And so he's more explosive, got more fire. They're going to miss him. But with the schedule at the beginning of the year, they should be able to win these games without him. You have to be able to beat the Falcons, Denver, and the Chargers to start the season. And that's to start you at 3-0. He should be back after that. If he's not, Cordell Patterson can still come in and fill that pass catching role because that's what he's always done. Hell, he was a wide receiver before they made him a returner and a running back.
Exactly.
So he fills that role perfectly. You're not going to probably not get the 80-yard splashes out of him now that he used to give you, where you can still get him out of Warren, and take it to the house from anywhere on the field. But he can still get it into you from 50. So there's a drop-off, but their offense shouldn't notice it as much because Arthur Smith was Cordero Patterson's coach.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
So there shouldn't be that much of a drop-off other than the explosive long plays. Because, every team in the NFL struggles to put together a 15 play, not yard, but play drive. So if you can pop one from 75, great. Well, that's what you lose with Warren because Najee's not taking it 75. He's not built like that. The only guy built like that is playing in Baltimore now. And that's a shame because he went from Tennessee to Baltimore, first ballot Hall of Famer. And that's the bottom line. Best back, arguably the best back in the league still at his age, but most people say it's McCaffrey, including me. But what's big dude's name in Baltimore now?
Derrick Henry.
From Tennessee. Derrick Henry. Yeah, he's a guy that's at that size of Najee that can take it from 95 yards to the house. Najee's not built like that. But as far as Pittsburgh goes, that drop-off is going to be noticeable, but it's not going to be so substantial that it should cost him games. So if he's ready to come back in week 3, rest him in week 4. Give him another week, depending on how Cordell is doing, because he's going to get you the yards that you need. So they have enough there. What I'm looking for is when is Roman Wilson coming back? Because we need that third wide receiver. We need a third, fourth wide receiver. Van Jefferson's having a good preseason, but he's still shown he's Van Jefferson, or he would have probably still been in Los Angeles with the Rams. So I want to see some guys, some homegrown guys. Again, diehard Pittsburgh fan, where my homegrown guys at? And if we can roll out there and get it done with Wilson, obviously Pickens, but then Wilson and my guy Calvin Austin, that'll be all right. But we got to, it all goes back to shoring up that one offensive tackle spot, man. It really does. Because Russell Wilson's not going to have a bad year. He's not going to turn the ball over. Yeah, we'll all get frustrated with the dinking and dunking. But at the end of the day, it's dink and dunk or force it and turn it over.
That's it.
With Pittsburgh's defense, the last thing you do is turn the ball over. You do not turn it over.
Mm-hmm. And if you're curious, ask the Patriots how the dink and dunk systems work. They won a few championships doing nothing but that under poor offensive lines.
They only got 6 championships, not throwing the ball deep except one year.
That they didn't win.
They didn't win that, did they?
Nope.
They sure didn't when they had Randy Moss.
That's it. They had the man and still couldn't pull it off because they changed who they were. It's just whatever. Possession football may be boring, but it will win you games if you can do it appropriately. And this Pittsburgh Steelers team now, especially without Jalen, seems to be set up for exactly that.
And look, as bad as this game was Saturday night, right? Whatever we keep talking about on this show, time of possession. Pittsburgh, 30 minutes and 32 seconds. They won it by, what is that? Buffalo had 29 minutes and 28 seconds. They won the time of possession again. You keep winning time of possession, you will win games. Now, they only had 13 first downs. That is garbage. But nonetheless, you're getting 30 minutes plus time of possession. You're going to win a lot of football games.
Oh, yeah, that'll translate. Absolutely translate.
Your defense is resting.
That's exactly the point. The defense is resting, and our defense, who's probably going to be on the field a lot this year, if we're going to be honest about it,
they're going to need all the rest they need. But how much are they going to be with 30 minutes of time of possession? They're not going to be on the field that much.
You hope.
That's the plan.
Yep.
That's the plan. I mean, you can still win games in this league ugly. But when it comes time, when playoff time come, you better be able to go.
Well, that's it. I think the Steelers have been blessed with one thing, and I think this is where Omar was smart making this year the year to make the big moves. Their schedule plays out where this team gets to get all of the experience, get used to the playbook, and get ready to go before any divisional games even start. So and having that, yeah, I mean, this is like basically in college playing Appalachian State and Tulsa U or whatever the hell, these no-name schools that come into these massive programs, essentially for a division that divisional wins are going to factor in. Having the schedule break out the way the Steelers have it is just it works out perfectly to our strengths and our needs right now.
Yeah, and it works out because they have a chance to jump up after those first 10 games before those 3 games in 10 days start.
That's it.
So that's the thing. And everybody's going to cry about it. Quite frankly, the schedule came out in April, May?
Mm-hmm.
So every player on the team knew you had 3 games in 10 days. If you think you were in shape, you weren't. Go get in shape. Everybody knew from that owner down to the 53rd man on the roster. And you think Kansas City feeling sorry for them? No, they got the same schedule. There's teams that have that same schedule. You got to win 2 of those 3 games. You don't have to win all 3, but you can't lose all 3.
That's it.
And you damn sure can't lose to the Giants, the Falcons, the Commanders, all these other teams that you're supposed to beat. You cannot give any games away this year like they did last year when they lost back-to-back to the Rams and the Cardinals at home. You cannot do that. You cannot do that this year. Are you going to be on the outside looking in? And my dog agrees as she's barking. But you'll be on the outside looking in, and you'll be handing Mike Tomlin. He'll be handing himself his first losing record of the year of his career.
And if you think Lou is wrong about that, remember, he's the only one that was correct about Michael Penix being a good draft pick.
So far.
No, don't put the asterisk on it, man. You just generalize. Far. We generalize everything here.
Because I'm going to let them know at every step of the way. Still so far. It's like a Candyland game. Still so far.
Yeah, this is torture. We're going to end it. For Lou, I'm Corey Idle. This was 6 Rings and Counting. We'll be back next week. We'll be going over week 3 of the preseason. Following that, we'll be doing season reviews, getting really in-depth with the schedule, and then obviously leading up to week 1, previewing that Falcons game in depth. For Lou Willard, I'm Corey Idle. This is 6 Rings and Counting.